In the cozy heart of North Carolina, as Christmas bells ring their tune, Triad families decorate and dream of a home they hope to buy soon. They are tired of paying rent, but have been too scared by the news. Less homes for sale and higher interest rates gave everyone the blues. But as we go into the new year, there's an opportunity for joy, as a new home is on Santa's wish list for every girl and boy. Rates are lower and homes are selling. The Triad is quite hot. The Sharp Mortgage team will talk to you with great care and thought. Even if you are not ready today to take the next step in your life, we know that life can change quickly for a husband and wife. There is no obligation to talk to our local team about your dreams. No stress at this time of year. It's as easy as it seems. Celebrate Christmas knowing you are well on your way to build beautiful traditions and magic for future holidays. The Sharp Mortgage team raises a toast to your family's festive cheer, whether you're ready now to buy or waiting till next year. A house truly becomes a home when filled with love and holiday songs. Christmas in your new home is where happy holiday hearts belong.
All right. Here we go. It's been a while, ladies and gents. I apologize. I'm going to have a video come out here in just a little bit. I've had some AFib issues, some health concerns. So it's kept me from recording for about the last couple months. But at the end of the day, I'm back in the gym. Today I made some chicken thighs in the air fryer, and they were absolutely delicious. So, trying to live for my daughter Jordan here. It was quite the wake-up call. So, again, check that out. We'll have that on our social media. I will explain a little bit more about what happened. I blame the movie Trap with Josh Hartnett. I mean, I really don't, but that's another story for another day. The movie was not that good, and everything was happening during that film. So, we're never here to like bomb on movies, but goodness gracious.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, M. Night.
Yeah.
M. Night.
Yeah. Goodness. I mean, that was just a promotion for his daughter, the entire movie. That's all that was. So, but anyways, welcome back. Big thank you to the Believe Podcast Network, Golden Ticket Cinemas right here in Greensboro, North Carolina, Sailfish Comics with 3 amazing locations for you. Concord, Winston-Salem, and of course, Greensboro for all your action figure, graphic novel, and comic book needs. And of course, Pro Cover Exteriors, taking care of all your window, siding, and roofing needs. Be sure to check them all out. Always good to support local. That's what we're all about here at Zero Dark Nerdy. Nothing against the corporate companies out there, but the local businesses are what keeps everything moving. So this is your boy Brian, aka El Nino, and today I'm joined with
Jordan, and my AKA is currently on our socials in the comments up for debate. So be clever, go comment what you think it should be, and then you might win some little prizes.
There you go.
I could get an AKA after 5, 6 years on this podcast.
After 6 years, no AKA yet. So we're going to leave it up to you, the fans. Go to our Instagram page, Zero Dark Nerdy, or Facebook. Go and vote on what you think her AKA should be. Whichever one she picks, that person's going to be winning some awesome ZDN merch. By the way, big shout out to our boy Pete over at Cut the Music Prince for our baseball tees. First time we've ever had baseball tees, and I got to tell you, this shirt is so comfortable. And some comic books as well from our friends over at Sailfish Comics. So The Penguin on HBO Max just wrapped up. Fair warning, there are going to be plenty of spoilers ahead. Yes. So if you have not watched The Penguin, you may want to wait to listen to this episode. Or if you don't want to watch The Penguin, which I don't know why you wouldn't want to, then have at it. But we are going to be talking about some favorite moments, characters, episodes, and more. Jordan, why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Let's see. I mean, I loved it a lot. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I was going to say I loved it more than I thought, but I didn't think I was not going to love it. I don't know. A matter if I would like buy into the Penguin as like its own standalone character and whatnot. And I definitely did. Colin Farrell is amazing per usual. He just seems like such a great, humble guy too off camera. It's such a interesting thing to see him transform into this heinous. Yeah, I won't say hate it. Well, you know, you guys, it's very debatable, I guess, but this villain, like this very iconic villain, is crazy. And I mean, I don't know how much we'll talk about his transformation, his makeup and all that. I mean, everybody's talking about it. So I know everybody already knows that the makeup they did for him in this show is some of the best.
4 hours a day.
Especially, yeah.
4 hours a day he spent in that makeup chair.
I mean, he's totally unrecognizable. I mean, you can see his eyes, and then if you know Colin Farrell, you know that's his eyes, but the rest is just, yeah, he was penguinified, and very, very well done. He's totally unrecognizable and scary. And I love all the like memes too. There's so many good penguin memes about like his characterization of his accent and his walk and all that.
Oh yeah, where you have the people going through the progression of the penguin.
Yeah, like each episode, a guy turning more and more into the penguin and the walk and the. Yeah. I love that. And obviously Colin Farrell's great, but also Sofia Gigante. The actress's name
Melody.
Kristen Melody. I hope she gets nominated for her role. I'm sure Colin Farrell will get nominated. Yeah. I hope she does too, because it's just so awesome. Like, this character is so cool, and I cannot wait for, hopefully, you know, the future of the Sofia Gigante, not Falcone anymore, Gigante. And yeah, we'll get into like the finale episode.
So it's funny you mentioned that, because we got a little bit of stuff afterwards. So, you know, the series just wrapped up this past Sunday. I'm still a big fan just because I'm old school. Like, I don't mind when shows come out once a week. I don't need to binge it all in a weekend. To me, I still think it leaves some great suspense in there. I think it makes you appreciate the show even more. You know, they did the same thing with X-Men 97. And, you know, I talked to a lot of coworkers and especially some of the younger ones, like, they want to see it all at once. And I'm just like, man, I come from an era to where, you know, even before TiVo, you miss an episode, like, you were fucked. So you had to wait, you know, to either get the recap from your friends or wait for it to come out on DVD or whatever it was. So, you know, to piggyback off that, you know, Colin Farrell went through 4 hours of makeup a day. And if you would not have told me that this was Colin Farrell, I would have never believed you.
No.
Plain and simple. I mean, he does such a great job. And, you know, we got to give props and credit to not just Matt Reeves, but the creator, the writer, developer, Lauren LaFranc.
Yes.
If you watch, and Jordan and I talk about this all the time, I love watching all the behind the scenes stuff. I do it for about every show that I care about and every movie. And HBO does a really good job of doing a behind the camera special for a lot of their shows. More in recent years than they did in the past. You know, I noticed that they added, I've rewatched Boardwalk Empire for, I think, the third time. And this was the first time where I actually got more of the story behind a lot of the characters. So HBO Max does a great job with that. But Lauren LaFranc, sorry, you know, did a fantastic job with this story and bringing it to life. And the characters alone are just amazing. And just to kind of touch on something real quick, the biggest question was, why didn't John Turturro come back and play Carmine Falcone, which was his character in The Batman? And it was recast by Mark Strong, who is a phenomenal actor. Cannot wait to see him on Dune Prophecy. I love him and everything that he does. So there was an interview with Variety Magazine, I believe, and just to kind of read off that, he didn't return back to the Penguin because of the violence towards women.
Oh, I heard about this.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking to Variety, Turturro revealed why he didn't return for the Penguin. I did what I wanted to with the role in the movie. In the show, there was a lot of violence towards women, and that's not my thing. Okay, get it? Appreciate it, because that was my big question. I was like, I wonder why he didn't come back. Mark Strong.
I saw that. Yeah. So I saw that, and at first, I was like, well, I saw that maybe I was only an episode or two into the show, and I was like, what does that mean? What's coming? Because I really like the show, and I hope it doesn't get certain movies and shows will like just completely like fetishize violence against women and stuff.
Right.
And I just really I didn't want that. I didn't think that was going to happen. So I hoped that he was being dramatic or whatever. But when you get to like episode 4, where the history of Sophia in the Arkham Asylum, it's like, oh, this is probably what he was talking about. It's one of my favorite episodes though, because it's absolutely, I mean, it's horrifying. And I will say what made me feel at peace with, how graphic it is and stuff is, I mean, it's first and foremost, just great storytelling. Like I think I told you, or I told Juan or something, that like I have a new fear unlocked, and it's being trapped in Arkham Asylum. Yeah. It really gives a sinister tone to that place.
Yep.
And then secondly, when I found out that this show is written by a woman, by what's her name? Laura LaFranc, right?
Lauren LaFranc. Yep.
And that makes a difference when you're, you kind of, I feel like that kind of makes me feel better as a woman watching maybe graphic things to do with women when I know that it's been written by a woman. Like, not to say it can't be written by men and it shouldn't be written by men, but I'm just saying that like the times that I'm talking about where I see problematic like unjustifiable things.
Sure.
Oftentimes it's probably a man writing it because they're not thinking about like how that might affect a woman to see that from a man's perspective. It's kind of hard to explain, but I heard about that, and I agree. Like, it makes sense if he just, wasn't into, because that's a thing right now in Hollywood, is just like,
and it wasn't
having to be careful about that.
Like, affected it so much. It's not like it's not like Colin Farrell was replaced. And I'm not saying John Turturro, I always remember him as so many great roles, but of course the Jesus from The Big Lebowski, and he was fantastic as Carmine Falcone in the Batman film. And you know what? Props to him. He was like, hey, it's not my thing. I don't need to come back for this, especially this is what I'm seeing. And Mark Strong, I mean, if anything, it's a compliment to be quote unquote replaced by someone as strong as him. It's not like they just brought in some Joe Schmo off the street. Mark Strong is a hell of an actor, and I literally cannot think of a movie where I mean,
he's a great casting choice for that role. I mean,
and we talked about this before. HBO has such a great reputation of bringing people back. And of course, Mark Strong, just like I mentioned, he's going to be in the Dune Prophecy coming out here soon.
There's no place like home for the holidays. A place where memories are made. A place where family and friends come together. But what if this holiday season has you looking for a new home? With everything you pile onto your plate this time of year, let the Ginther Group relieve some of that stress and pressure. First of all, they're experts on the local real estate market, and then they'll add personalized guidance to the experience. Let's face it, the holidays are stressful, and the idea of moving during them can be overwhelming. The Ginther Group is here to make the process smooth and even enjoyable. If you're seeking the perfect home for your holidays, then call the Ginther Group now at 336-283-8689 or go to their website at theginthergroup.com. Even if it's not the right time to buy or sell, that's okay. You can still meet with them about your 2025 real estate goals, so you can work with a team you can trust to have you ready when the time is right. That's 336-283-8689. Call the Ginther Group today.
At Dewey's, we celebrate every day, but no one celebrates the holidays like we do. Right now, it's the season for sweet treats at any of our 3 Triad area locations. In Winston-Salem at Thruway and Renolda Manor. Plus, one in Greensboro at Friendly Shopping Center. Easy holiday ordering is also available at local.deweys.com. It's also the season for raising sweet dough for your organization. Contact any Dewey store for information on how you can set up your own holiday fundraiser where 50% of the items sold go immediately back to your organization. Plus, holiday stores will be popping up from mid-November until Christmas Eve. In the Triad and beyond, these special holiday shops will assist in raising money for nonprofits and the locations can be found by visiting Deweys.com starting in November. So make the holidays special for the ones you love and others with Dewey's Bakery, home of free Cake Square Monday all year round. Dewey's, celebrate every day.
Bring home Transformers 1 and buy on digital now. Watch the untold origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron, brothers in arms turned sworn enemies who changed the fate of Cybertron forever. Chris Hemsworth, Brian Tyree Henry, and Scarlett Johansson star in the film critics are calling the perfect movie for the whole family. Includes over 45 minutes of fun-filled bonus features available at participating retailers. Buy Transformers 1 on digital today. Rated PG from Paramount Animation and Hasbro. Can't wait. But top to bottom, the performances are outstanding. We just talked about Kristen Melody, from Wolf of Wall Street, Fargo, the TV series. She was in my favorite Black Mirror episode with Jesse Plemons, USS Caliber.
That's what she was in.
That's her.
I'd never seen her before this.
Oh, really. Yeah. She was. So she was.
That was it. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. She was the first wife in Wolf of Wall Street. And the Fargo TV series I haven't watched, but I always remember her in that Black Mirror episode with Jesse Plemons, USS Callister, which fun fact out there, next year, when they haven't announced a date yet, but they are coming back with, I think, 6 more episodes of Black Mirror, and there's going to be a second installment of USS Callister with the original cast.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
She is just great as Sophia Falcone, a.k.a. the Hangman. Renzi Feliz, who you may know as the voice of Camilo Madrigal. Madrigal, am I saying that right? In Encanto?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Camilo.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I really knew him from before. To me, he was really
awesome.
The heart and soul of this whole series.
Mm-hmm. I hope he gets nominated too.
Oh, same. I mean, I don't know if he has like a speech impediment in real life, but he played that whole thing off. And, again, he really we identify with him because he comes from like the shittiest part of Gotham, which got affected by the most in the Batman, which, by the way, this is a continuation of the Batman film. It takes place literally like maybe a week or two
soon after
the events of the Batman. So, not only does he personify the Latin community, but also those of us that just want to get by and make a buck. And he does it with just such grace, such soul. Like, I can't wait to see what he does next. So, Renzi, God bless you. Can't wait to see it out. Rounding out the cast, I don't want to go, too far into it. Clancy Brown, of course, the voice of Mr. Krabs, and he's been in so much other stuff, as Salvatore Moroni. He's great. Theo Rossi as Dr. Julian Rush, I think is just fantastic. We've had him on the show before. So if you've not checked out our interview with Theo Rossi, be sure to check that out. And most importantly, Deidre O'Connell as Frances Cobb, Penguin's mom.
Oh,
amazing.
Oh, she should get nominated too. I mean, her performance is incredible.
It's great.
She'll get nominated for sure.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not going to say they're going to sweep the Golden Globes and Emmys, because a lot of times what happens, a lot of shows that wrap up, you have your Successions, you have your shows that go through their final seasons. They're the ones that normally like rack up at Golden Globes and Emmys. I don't really know too many shows that kind of wrapped up this year where that's going to, I think if anything, it's going to be a more level playing field. I'm not taking anything away from your Successions, your Game of Thrones, your Breaking Bads, things like that. But normally when shows wrap up, those are the ones that rack up during.
Well, I mean, they might have a good chance because as far as we know, this is just a 1-season show. I mean, this show is way more popular than they ever thought. I don't think they've shut down the possibility for a Penguin season 2, but it's very 50-50. Like, it's supposed to just be a one-off, and then they're going to go on to like what's next, the Riddler, right?
No, so apparently the rumor is Barry Keoghan.
Oh, the Joker,
his Joker. Which, as much as I can't stand the Joker being replayed over and over again by different actors, that 5-minute deleted scene from the Batman I thought was incredible. And if were to bring him back, whether in the Batman Part 2 or to have him have his own standalone series, I would be very excited to see that, because I think that's the thing with the Batman going into the Penguin, right? It's more believable than the comic books and everything else. You know what I mean? Like even the Batmobile in the Batman seems like the most believable Batmobile on the planet. Now, I'm not taking anything away from the other Batmobiles. They're fantastic. Yeah. But I still think, and that was the only thing, like, I don't want to say my only gripe, because I don't have many gripes. I really don't have any gripes for this. Is it would have been cool, because the Penguin's always been known to have the Penguin's just always been known to have these cool just cool contraptions.
Oh yeah. Huh.
You know, and that's the one thing that I feel is missing. But again, I think that's where they're going with the more realistic,
right?
Where he didn't have like an umbrella that was, shooting off shotgun rounds or
that would have been cool though. If they had a scene where he at least shot a gun through an umbrella, that would have been cool. Right.
Exactly. Like, I wasn't expecting him to escape, with an umbrella, but at least have an umbrella become a weapon and some of these cool toys and gadgets.
At least an Easter egg
that we've seen. Yeah, exactly. So we'll see, besides other rumors, apparently Dr. Julian Rush, which is played by Theo Rossi, again, this is rumored that he may be this iteration of the Scarecrow. So just to kind of backpedal a little bit, for those of you hardcore fans out there and those of you that, are maybe getting used to this new, DC universe, there's many DC universes. So James Gunn has the main DC universe, the DCEU per se. This is known as Elseworlds, just like the Joker film is a standalone. The Batman and the Penguin series and the Batman 2 coming out October 2026 is part of the Elseworlds thing. So it's not going to tie into anything that James Gunn is doing. So with that being said, the rumor is not only is Dr. Julian Rush supposed to be the next Scarecrow, that the next Batman film is supposed to be on the Hush storyline, which is a great storyline that I actually had. Oh, no, I don't. I have it in my bedroom because I was reading it before bed.
Okay, we're going to switch because you're going to borrow the Long Halloween from me, and I need to borrow Hush because I haven't.
There we go. Hush. Perfect. So, yes. Talk about the Long Halloween, which you just started reading, and how you mentioned a lot of that kind of ties into this and where it's going.
Yeah, I mean, I read it. I read the Long Halloween. I got like the trade. I didn't. It's hard to collect like those older, singles. So I just bought the trade recently in Cincinnati, and I read it in like 2 days, and it's very good. It heavily inspires the Penguin. And that it's not a story focused on the Penguin at all, but it's got the rivaling families, the Falcones and the Maronis.
Okay.
And so you see Sophia Falcone, aka
Hangman
Gigante.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember actually in the trade. If she's the Hangman or not. I think in the trade she is the Hangman, but in the show she's not. Her dad's the Hangman,
right?
Which I think was a cool transformation for the show to do, considering the people that were killed were the sex workers and stuff, and like that whole plot line was really. I like how they switched it to make it not her, not her killing them. But anyways, yeah. So that's just kind of what leads it to it's just the families, and Alberto is in it too, a lot more relevant in the Long Halloween. I was shocked to see like he got killed right away. It was like it was great.
I mean that set the tone.
They transformed his character dramatically as well, even though we didn't get to see a lot of him in the trade. He's kind of like quiet, nerdy, like his dad just steps over him because he's like the weakest link in the family.
Gotcha.
And this one, he's kind of an arrogant, different vibe. But he's in it. They don't really share that relationship that they were alluding to in the show. Sophia and Alberto being close. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the Long Halloween's good. I mean, if you like the vibe of the Penguin being very mobby and the rivaling families, whatnot. It's that's a good one to read. Is the mystery of who is the holiday killer.
Okay.
And it features an appearance from every like major Batman villain as well, with a focus on the origin story of a particular one that I can't really say, because then it just like spoils
Okay.
part of the holiday killer thing.
All right. So, we went over characters. Let's go over some episodes now. I know you mentioned episode 4, which is also one of my favorite episodes as well. What is it about episode 4, and what are some of your other favorite episodes?
Episode 4 was just, it was tough to watch. For sure.
Yeah.
It was scary. Like, so episode 4, I don't know the title of the episode, but it's all about
Cintai, which I know I'm not probably saying it right, but it means 100 years. It's an Italian toast.
Oh, okay. So it goes all into the backstory of how Sophia ended up in Arkham, and then what her stay in Arkham was like, and it's just horrific. It's so good, just like creating the tone of Arkham. I know I already mentioned that, but it's like,
because we've never really gotten to the Arkham
besides video games,
right? And that's
the video games are great; they're really good, actually.
Yeah, but we've never really seen it in animated film, somewhat, but never in a show or in a movie.
Yeah, and so I think they did that really well. It's truly I don't know. Just when you guys watch The Penguin, we would love to know your thoughts on episode 4. So Sophia's been put in there by her father because she knows that he's the Hangman Killer. Yeah. And almost exposed that to like the news pretty much. And so she's sent to Arkham with the help of Oz. And there's one part that kind of sums up like this episode is where they like tie Sophia to like one of the prison lunchroom tables, and they tie the scary Death Note looking chick to the one across from her, and they just like let him loose with like Sophia has a shiv, and I don't think the other girl has anything, but then they just Sophia doesn't want to fight her, but that girl's insane, so they just start fighting and brawling, and somehow the Death Note girl gets the shiv and just starts stabbing herself in the neck, and that's just like, even though the Penguin is graphic and violent throughout, this episode just took it to like a whole Arkham level of like insanity. Like I think that's obviously it's going to be kind of one of the defining episodes if Christina does get nominated. Like this one will be a lot of her credit to that, just because you can just see like the fear in her eyes throughout that episode, and just like, because she's not crazy, she's not a murderer prior.
She knew the family she was born into, but she was trying to do things the right way with a foundation and a charity, and even without narking on her parents, like trying to figure out who the Hangman is. And then you see this transformation to, holy shit, this is what made you.
Yeah. And
you are now.
Like, you want me to be crazy? I'll be crazy. Right. And I love women's stories like that. There's like a whole, like kind of like The Witch movie with Anya Taylor-Joy, where they're saying she's a witch the whole time. She's like, I'm not a witch. I'm not a witch. She becomes a witch. She's like, you want me to be a witch? I'll be a witch then. Yeah. I love those stories. They're always so well done, and so just the best kind of like revenge stories, I guess you could say. Like, I don't know. I love it. So I love Sophia Gigante as a character. I'm very excited for her.
Great.
It's time to get serious about your financial future. It's never too early, but it could be too late to get started. And that's oftentimes the hardest part, getting started. How much do I save? Where do I invest? Do I save for college or retirement? How much for each? And who do I talk to about it all? Okay, we'll keep things simple for now and help you answer the last one. We recommend you begin with a local financial advisor. And that's Jennifer Johnson of Three Magnolias Financial Advisors. She'll sit down with you for a complimentary introductory consultation and go over all of your questions. Get started on the path to achieving your financial goals. Visit 3magnoliasfinancialadvisors.com or call 336-701-1600. Get comfortable with your financial future. 3 Magnolias Financial Advisors. Retirement, financial planning, and investments. Securities offered through Private Client Services. Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through 3 Magnolias Financial Advisors. 3 Magnolias Financial Advisors and Private Client Services are not affiliated. Private Client Services is under separate ownership from any other named entity.
She's great. I thought it was, and we mentioned this earlier, spoilers ahead. I thought that was a nice touch at the very end where she's in Arkham, which to her is a punishment worse than death. And Penguin knows that.
Obviously.
Like when he had her turn around, I'm like, he ain't going to kill her. Like she's going right back to Arkham. And then you see Catwoman, Selena Kyle, send her a letter saying, hey, we're
half sisters.
We're half sisters. So it still gives you hope because
so excited.
That's what the show did so great is these characters, as horrible as they can be, you still want to kind of pull for them. Like you want
absolutely
to make it. You know what I mean? And whether if it's the Penguin or Sophia, I mean, really, at the end of the day, Victor is the one you're pulling for the entire time.
And of course,
we have that. So, so I know you mentioned episode 4. I particularly like the episode, I think it was episode 7, where it shows a young Penguin. Because the whole thing throughout the whole series is what happened to his brothers. How did his brothers die? How was he the only one? And then you see he is the reason why he doesn't have brothers.
The way that it happened, honestly, it kind of caught me off guard. Like it's pretty silly.
I mean, it is.
Like
I'm just like, all right. And at the end of the day, too, like I know me as a parent. Like, let's just say you're out with Javier and Mariah. And you come back by yourself, you're like, oh, they're at the movies. I'll be like, okay, well, I'm going to go check. And the fact that the mom's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to take your word for it. And then, like, they don't come back. Like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of, it just expands on the fact, when you get to episode 7 and 8, where you start to see that the mom always knew.
Yeah.
She might have already known, it probably didn't take her long. It could have been like Oz came home and she already knew what happened. She just didn't want to acknowledge it because she didn't acknowledge it for years and years.
Yeah. I mean, besides that, I thought the final episode titled A Great or Little Thing was, chef's kiss. I mean, seeing the betrayal of which we could see the younger generation coming up, right? And that's Oz's whole thing. And that's what I appreciate about this version of Oz. Or, Oswald Cobblepot, for those of you that may not know, the Penguin, is he's very much, grew up poor, man of the streets, not, a son of a wealthy family that had some kid with deformities kind of thing. He has the deformities, but he also came from nothing too. So that whole story really resonates about his rise throughout the series, where he's talking about, people like you, Carmine Falcone, everybody above them. You look down on people like us, like you were born into something. We all had to make something of ourselves. And when we all rise up, something is going to happen, which is really what happened. And, it sucks. I honestly believe we have not lost Victor. He is going to survive. But he's not going to have the memory of who he was. So I'm just hoping, just because that he's such a beloved character. And, as I mentioned, Renzi Feliz just did such a great job with him. There are a couple fan theories out there that he gets found by the Batman and he becomes Nightwing.
Ooh.
So
that would be cool.
Of course. Fan theory,
or Robin, or who that would be cool.
Yeah, but it's and that's the thing too. It's so early because with the Batman, it's year 2 technically, and I still think we're way early to get a Batman. And for those of you that have read the comics or may not know anything about comics, like, of course, there's Robin, there's this and that, the other. Nightwing is really the one that like holds everything together. So I think it's still too early for that, but at the end of the day, I like to hope.
I hope so. I don't think anybody like is happy that Victor died. Nobody's happy.
That was about as brutal as Game of Thrones.
That settled it, you know.
Yeah, Game of Thrones is one of those shows to where it's like once you love a character, look out. Their lifespan is not going to be that long, and this was very Game of Thrones esque. Where I was just like, oh no. And
that's where
such a good scene though. At the end of the day, as shitty as it was, you could kind of see it was like something's about to pop.
You knew it was good. I mean, I wasn't surprised that it happened. Yeah. Because by the time you get to like, you know, later and later in the season, especially when you get to the last 2 episodes, I mean, you're rooting for Oz the whole time. Especially because, you know, what you said, if he's coming from nothing, he has a very humble, like, purpose and story of just wanting to provide for his mother. And you don't know why, though, yet is the thing. That's why we're seeing this such a pure intention from him. Yeah. And so you're rooting for him the whole way. I mean, until you get to, like, episode, you know, 7, I guess, 6, maybe 6, but 7, and where you start to see with his backstory considered and stuff that, like, oh, he really is a bad guy. Because obviously what he's done to his brothers and even keeping the mom alive. She was like promising the mom alive and that you don't make me a vegetable. And he was like, oh, too bad. Yeah. And I mean, time and time again from the start, he would screw people over. But he would be able to like redeem himself from it or like make us believe that he had to do it. But he like the whole time by the end, you're just like, he really is he is that person. Like he will screw anybody over to get what he wants. And I mean, that's what happens to Victor at the end is like, even though we see such a strong bond between them and Victor knows more about him than anybody else does at this point, like that's why he has to go. Exactly for that reason. Yeah. And
I mean, he says it. He's like, and I mean, in a way, he's just like, I don't want to love anyone or anything because you are going to hold me back no matter what.
Yeah. I think what happens to his mom definitely just tips him over the edge to just being, I'm going to be the villain then. Yeah. Period, because now he's got nothing to like live for, to work
especially for. When the mom stabs him too, because he's just like the one person that I could count on that I love more than life itself stabbed me in the stomach. What would it keep Victor from doing that one day? You know, like again, I'm not saying what he did was solidified, but that's his rationale is.
Or once Victor learned that he did what he did to because Victor never knew either, you know, that Oz killed his brothers and.
Yep.
So once he found that out, Oz could just figure what would happen probably.
So who knows? It's pretty much up to Matt Reeves and of course the incredibly talented Lauren LaFranc. You know, again, thank you for developing this, creating this, writing this. It was great to watch her perspective on every episode. I love the behind the scenes stuff. And it kind of, you know, it throws you off because you think that there's so much time left in the episode. But really, like that last 10, 15 minutes is all behind the scenes. So, but yeah, be sure to watch it if you haven't. And if you have watched it, if you're not stuck around for the behind the scenes stuff, definitely do that. It just adds a little bit more to every character and every story and every episode. Yeah.
But I'll be interested to see maybe if the niece makes another appearance. It kind of leaves it, you know, kind of ominous because nothing really happens. She ends up obviously in like a foster home or something, or not a foster home, like an orphanage. Mm-hmm. And Sophia goes back to visit her, and you know she's obviously very upset how it's affected her, but it's not like she can adopt her. Yeah. So I wonder maybe if Catwoman Catwoman.
Yeah.
Picks her up when she's older in life, and maybe this niece ends up out in the streets or whatever. Mm-hmm. Maybe Catwoman like picks her up or something like that, because Catwoman is very in the streets type of person.
Yeah.
Definitely check it out. Even if you like, honestly, I've just not because I never wanted to be into DC, but I've never like been like introduced to it that often, especially just because the cinematic universe of it has been so poor for so long.
Yeah.
I just haven't had a lot of encouragement to get into DC. And you don't really have to watch the show either. Like it's just a good show.
Yeah.
It's not, you don't have to be into like superheroes, villains.
Even if you didn't watch the Batman, you could really enjoy this show.
I mean, this is just a good, if you like thrillers, like drama, like I said, like a mob story.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just good for generally. And I love how dark this side of DC is, like with the Batman and the Joker and now the Penguin. Like I love this dark atmosphere of Gotham. I think that there is such a huge success behind how they've created Gotham to be what it is. Because like, I mean, that's easy to mess up, really, is making this like this urban inspired area. They could have, you know, there's a lot of ways to like be lazy with that. I feel like, or, you know, not take it to its highest potential, but I don't know. I just really love, for me, like the tone DC's creating for Gotham.
Yeah.
And for like the backstories of these characters being very like, not like realistic, like this happened, like they're superheroes and villains, but like their origin stories come from like a real like place of humanity and like the same things we all want as normal people.
Yep.
And so I love that how tangible that they've made the elsewhere world, I guess, of DC. And so I'm excited for whatever else comes. And it's definitely got me more interested in, you know, reading Batman comics and doing my research, like what kind of Batman comics are my favorite, which ones do I want to read, because there's so many. And I want whatever has the tone of the Penguin and the Batman and the Joker. Like I want those kinds. So like The Long Halloween and Hush, I hear is very similar. And I think there's one other one. Oh, the Dark Victory. I just got issue 1 of that. That's an older one too, but it goes right after The Long Halloween. So I kind of found my niche within Batman that I like right now. So I'm happy.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, out there, ladies and gents, thank you all so much for joining us. It's so good to be back. Again, big thank you to our sponsors, Believe Podcast Network, Golden Ticket Cinemas right here in Greensboro, Sailfish Comics with 3 locations, Concord, Winston-Salem, and Greensboro. And of course, for all your window, siding, and roofing needs, be sure to hit up Pro Cover Exteriors. Ask for Kevin Krebs. Tell him Brian Hernandez sent you. On behalf of Jordan and myself and the rest of the ZDN crew, we'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye.
Yeah! Victory!
And anger management?
Fuck anger management.